Hello everyone, welcome back to IT and Research Accelerator. In the previous video, we explored the Tinkercad interface and workspace for Arduino and embedded systems simulation. In today's tutorial, we are going to create our very first Arduino LED circuit in Tinkercad. This is a beginner-friendly practical demonstration that introduces basic circuit connections and simulation using the Arduino. So just a recap, we said we always have to open our browser, and then in our browser, we go ahead and we type www.tinkercad.com, we press enter, and then we log into our Tinkercad account. So mine has logged in. So we are going to create a new circuit. Remember, we are working on our first LED project. So we'll come here on create. We did all these in our previous tutorial. We select circuits, and then we can get our workspace for the new circuit we are going to create. So we are going to first think about what are the components that we will need if we are creating this LED project. So in the LED project, all we want to do is we want to have a simulation of an embedded system whereby we are having a bulb connected and then it can be lighting. Of course, we'll keep making this fun, but for the first one, it's just going to be a basic whereby we are going to have the LED connected to the microcontroller, that is the Arduino, and then it can be lighting. So we'll keep modifying it. We'll reach a point where maybe we're working on projects whereby if there is a trigger of a given action, we expect the LED bulb to light and so on and so forth. But for now, we are going to first handle it in a simple way. So adding the LED is going to be our first step. So we'll come here on the part for components and we search for the LED. Since initially we had worked with one, it's even already here, but still if it's not there, you just come here and you type LED and then you click search. They will show you the different options of the LED. We're going to get the component, then we drag. Not forgetting we said if you want to zoom, you come and click here and you zoom. If the zooming is too much, you can always take it back, because I know there are moments where we reach and it seems too big, it's not fitting. So you can actually, I am believing you navigated these different options, the copy, the delete, the undo, there's this one of visibility and so on and so forth. So we can always be able to play around with these different components. So we are going to first have the LED. You drag it from the component section and you put it here. And then the LED stands for light emitting diode, and it is commonly used in embedded system projects for visual output indications. Scenarios whereby you want to have an indication of a lighting beeps, you want the LED bulb to keep lighting, blinking, such scenarios, we use this LED. So it's literally it's a light emitting component, and it is commonly used and applied in these embedded systems. Another thing we are going to need, we'll need a resistor. Now, every component you're adding has a purpose. So I've just explained the purpose for the LED. Another component we need is a resistor. Why do we need a resistor? To protect this LED from excessive current. So we will still do the same thing. We want to drag the resistor here. So we'll still come here and we search for resistor. Actually, it's already here. We drag it still. And another thing we're going to need, we'll need the Arduino. Because we already mentioned that this is the Arduino is a microcontroller that we are going to be dealing with. So apart from this, I decided to zoom them so that they can be clear. So we can have the resistor. You can rotate your components in different angles. You can switch them to face the other side. So we can always play around with them depending on how you want them to be. So another component we will need is the Arduino. Now this one is, since it's a microcontroller, it is required or it is mandatory for all the projects that we are going to be working on. So still we'll drag it and we'll have it here. So like we said, of course, you're going to realize that sometimes the zooming is a lot. So you may have to reduce the zooming. You can zoom to make them bigger, or you can reduce. For example, now we have reduced, but then maybe we can say for the bulb we might choose to maybe zoom again, and then the resistor here. Okay, so after picking the components that you're going to work with, and then you drag them to the workspace, the next part is connecting the components. Now we want to connect these components step by step. First, we are going to connect one side of the resistor to the positive leg of this LED. And when you come on this LED, it has things like the color. You can choose to change the color maybe to green. But still, when you hover, when you move the mouse on the LED, you see this leg has anode, that is the positive, and this leg has cathode. So the first thing we are going to do in connecting, we are going to connect one side of the resistor to the positive leg of the LED, meaning we want to connect to this anode leg. And then we are connecting it to one side of one terminal of the resistor. The resistor has two terminals. So we'll come here, we click, and then we drag this up to the resistor. Next, we want to connect the other side of the resistor to the digital pin 13 on the Arduino board. So we come here on this second terminal and we want it to come to digital pin 13. So then we want to also connect the negative leg of the LED to the GND pin or to the ground pin. These pins we are connecting to are here on the Arduino. So the ground pin is here. If you can follow with the cursor, it is represented by GND. So this LED is already connected, the positive pin. We want to connect the negative pin and we want to connect it to the ground. So we'll drag up to the ground and then we connect like this. Okay, and then we can just to separate these wires also have colors and they have types. There's the normal wire type, there is the hookup, there is the alligator, there is the automatic. So we are using the normal, but the ground in the real physical world, ground is always represented with at least with black and other colors, but just to be organized and neat, we can try to follow some color codes. So these connections allow the Arduino to control that LED during simulation. We are just doing simple things or simple tasks because we don't want to cause issues or to confuse ourselves. So we are going to have this setup. You realize it's a very simple setup. We are having the Arduino, we are having the LED. The LED is connected to the resistor, and like we said, the Arduino is the microcontroller that is going to be controlling or that is going to be allowing the LED to light when we choose to start the simulation. When this is done, we now go to the next step of opening the code editor. You'd wonder, why are we opening the code editor? So Tinkercad allows us to program this Arduino either using the block-based programming or the text-based programming. For this tutorial, we shall use the simple text-based Arduino code. So on the top here, near the simulation button, there is code. So we are going to click on that option for code, and then we type a code to control this lighting. So this is what we were talking about. You realize that the Arduino is in these code blocks is giving you options of either use block-based programming, whereby you just choose a block and then you'll be able to set how you want it to behave, or the text-based. So we come here on the drop-down arrow and then we can choose to go with the text. So when we choose to go with the text, it is going to open for us such an interface. So we are going to put a simple code here, and then we'll be able to explain it. So, of course, most of the times you can even be able to use the one that is there, depending on whether it behaves as expected. But we can choose to delete this and we write our own code. A simple one, and we'll be able to set up the function so that this setup can run once the simulation starts. So we'll be able to type our code. We're going to start by we are going to start by a statement that says pin mode 13 output. What do we want to mean, or what are we starting with? We want to first tell this Arduino that pin 13 will be used for sending output signals. Remember, if you look here where I'm pointing the cursor, we connected the positive leg of this LED in digital pin 13. So we want to program this Arduino, and we say the pin mode, and then we want to specify exactly which pin, because the Arduino has many pins, pin 13. In pin 13, we are expecting an output. And then we terminate. We close this first block of code, or we close this first part. So the second, we want to put the loop function. So we'll bring the loop. That is, we'll come here and we say void loop. And then we want to still go ahead and put commands that we are expecting to be running inside the loop function. So inside the loop function, we want to send power through pin 13. Remember, pin 13 is connecting to the LED button, to the LED bulb. So when we send power through pin 13, we shall cause this LED to turn on during simulation. So we'll go ahead and we write inside the loop function. What function are we going to use? We'll use the function for digital write. So we'll come here and we say digital write, specifically which pin? Pin 13, and high. High means you're going to turn on. Okay, and then this will send power through pin 13 and it will cause the LED to turn on. That's why we are setting it high. So with that done, we can first come and close the code here, and then we click start simulation. So we want to test the simulation. Now let us test the circuit and see. When we click on start simulation, as you can see, is the light going to turn on? So we come here and you click start simulation. Okay, they are telling us that we are having some error. Okay, and the error is on line 9. So they're telling us on line 9 we typed, instead of typing digital, right? They're sensing some error on it. Digital. Okay, this W has to be in uppercase. So when we try again, okay, now they're saying on line 10. Okay, we did not terminate here. Okay, so you come here and you terminate and you start simulation again. Of course, I terminated and deleted, sorry. You first close and then you terminate. One thing we shouldn't be scared of are these errors. They are going to come, but just read the error. So when the errors are cleared, you can see now the LED bulb is lighting. When you click stop simulation, it stops. When you click start simulation, it lights. So this is, as you can see, the LED is turning on successfully. This confirms that our circuit connections and Arduino code are working correctly. If your circuit does not work immediately, I am emphasizing this because I know when we are just beginners, sometimes this happens. Please do not worry. Don't worry. Embedded systems learning involves experimentation, it involves troubleshooting, it involves continuous practice. So don't worry. When those errors come, just read and see the error is on which line of code. Come back to your code and you just edit that part. You debug and you see. So just a word of encouragement, do not worry. If things don't work immediately, we can always check out and see what could be wrong. So in this tutorial, we have been able to set up our first LED embedded system, simple simulation. And in the next tutorial, we shall improve this project by making the LED blink automatically using Arduino programming. If you found this tutorial helpful, feel free to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more practical tutorials on aspects in embedded systems, programming in C, programming in Python, cybersecurity, and research guidance. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.